Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the LOWBAT podcast. This week, we chat with a longtime friend of the crew, Jimmy Dillon. He's actually been a friend for longer than even he realized, as we'll get into in the episode. We talk about his career as a tattoo artist, he shares his stories of being on the road with local music legends Honour Crest, and he goes into depth on just how dangerous surfing is. It was fun recording with Jimmy. It was almost like we were chatting while I was sitting for a tattoo or something. Make sure you hit up his socials linked below to check out some of his work. And while you're at it, make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you can listen to all of our latest episodes.
You are now listening to the LOWBAT podcast,
a weekly show highlighting members of our local creative community and featuring topical conversations with members of the LOWBAT production team. We're your hosts, Casey House
and Fabian Castaneda. Through our own experiences as musicians, visual artists, and business owners, we saw an opportunity to provide a platform for people just like us to deep dive into what it's like to pursue a lifestyle outside of the norm.
Without further ado, welcome to the LOWBAT podcast.
Hey, I was looking at the wrong camera. What's up? Welcome back to the LOWBAT podcast, or welcome to your first watch, listen, whatever. I don't know. Who we got, Fabian?
All right, our guest today. This guy's been around the 757 for what seems like a while, but I know he's also spent some time on the other side of the world. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got questions about that.
Yeah, we got questions about that. We got Jimmy Dillon. He's a local tattoo artist and does some other cool things that we'll talk about. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
You good?
Great.
Yeah, man.
I'm all right. Had some pretty good Chipotle earlier. So
it was. I got here like a little late, so it was a little chilly.
The last bite was disappointing, which usually like I'm really adamant on having the last bite be the best bite. And so, but with Chipotle with a burrito, you kind of can't do that.
You just gotta take what you get.
The last bite had no sour cream in it.
My last bite had way too much guac in it.
Oh,
just one of those things.
Yeah.
You know.
There was what's it called? Pancheros. Yeah, we'll get to something important at some point. But it was called Pancheros. That was at
I remember Pancheros. Okay.
They automatically mixed your burrito. They would put all the things in. They would, which was like, so you get everything in every bite. And I've asked Chipotle to do that, and every time they go, and they do it inevitably, but I'm
reluctantly.
I'm like, man, like I feel bad asking because they don't get paid enough to like deal with me.
So, you're just so bougie, Casey.
I just mix the burrito. I don't want a bite that's all rice and then a bite that's all cheese. Like I want everything mixed up. That's
I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah. You want all the flavor.
I feel that. Looks like you came prepared. You have your last podcast on the left t-shirt going.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I would wear a podcast shirt just because.
Check out that podcast too.
Right.
It's a lot better than ours.
I think everybody checks out that podcast.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fair.
It's ridiculous.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
Like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to play in a band.
I mean,
so I used to do stuff like this.
Okay, I didn't know what kind of like.
I mean, like it was like Lucas and I were like, we do a lot of the press stuff, and everybody else would do more business stuff, and so I always got roped into this nonsense.
Being on the receiving end of questions, or I did one years ago that was like pre-written questions that and we were submitting a video it was like to a magazine or something.
Okay.
And so we had a friend of ours read the questions to us. I don't think we ever sent them the video because we couldn't get through it. He would start reading the question, all of us would start laughing, and then somebody would burp or somebody would sneeze, and we could not get through it.
Sound like a bunch of kids at a sleepover.
I mean, this was like 4 years ago.
So
or
you
something.
were a bunch of kids.
Yeah, we were a bunch of kids, but like, man.
Yeah.
In person, I don't know. I couldn't imagine. Maybe it'd be easier.
So, I mean, really, when I say we used to do it all the time, it was like one tour. Like people were like kind of interested in us, but we did, what was it, South by So What, and we did a couple of like press things that were like goofy questions, and I'm pretty good with stuff where I can just keep a straight face. So,
what a talent!
It's difficult. I might be a sociopath, though. That might be a problem.
So you heard it here first.
I might
sociopath.
It's a possibility. I had a conversation about that earlier. But
so tattooing. I'm really curious about like where you found the interest in it, and like did it start with drawing? Did you start like just like where did I guess the art side of that start?
Well, I mean, I've always drawn a whole bunch. Since high school, like everybody. But taking it seriously, it was really like on the downtime with the band, whenever I'd be at home, I draw some nonsense and just try to keep perfecting it, try to find different mediums and stuff like that. A lot of marker stuff, a lot of like pencil sketching stuff, not really having a style or anything. But
Did you know that like tattooing was something you were working towards?
it was always kind of like the goal eventually. But with touring and having a tour schedule, it was difficult.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I had a friend who definitely was like, hey, my boyfriend, eventually her husband, would give you an apprenticeship eventually, but you had to have a clear schedule. And I was like, that's just not possible.
Not right now.
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
not possible.
Not when you have a touring schedule
No.
in front of you.
Yeah.
When did you tattoo your first person or that person? I'll say.
So I did things the proper way.
Okay.
So with an apprenticeship, you should start an apprenticeship if you're interested in tattooing. But before that, you should actually be interested in drawing a lot and getting yelled at by crazy people. Because everything you draw is going to be incorrect. Everything you draw is just not going to be good until you actually get an apprenticeship and, you get it right. You just have to know how things work. But so that's later to talk about, I suppose. But yeah, I did my apprenticeship, and that was about 2 or 3 years because I bounced around back and forth a bunch.
My bad, I hit the mic.
But yeah, I bounced around back and forth between mentors a bunch, and eventually I got to tattoo my wife.
Okay.
And I did a palm-sized rose, which is kind of big for your first tattoo.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And it took me 2 sessions to do. So I did like lines and a little bit of shading, and my mentor at the time was like, come on, man, I thought you knew how to do this. Like, I'm like, you're supposed to show me, but
Damn.
But no, yeah, so we did line work and shading, and then about 3 or 4 weeks later, we finished it. So in all, it probably took me about 12 hours to do one rose.
One little
Whoa.
palm-sized rose.
And it was just because I wanted to get it right.
I mean, that's
So,
fair.
That's grueling.
It was bad, and I think my wife hated me for it. And I think everything I do is bad, so that's not even like...
I mean, as any sort of creative, you're your own worst
I
critic.
think so. I think, and if you want to be good at it, you have to like be just super critical. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody says anything I do sucks, it's like, you join the party, man. Because I think everything I do is terrible. So, but yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's as you keep doing it though,
yeah,
you gain confidence.
yeah, and I
just-
gain a little bit more confidence, a little bit more, and as one of my old mentors said, it's like leveling up. And I think that was the best analogy I heard was, it's like when he was talking to me about it, he was like, you're at the 0 level right now. You got to get like to level 1. You're not even there yet. So I'm still leveling up, and I'm never going to stop. So that's another reason why I love tattooing. So
I think that's the best. I think it's the best way to look at it. Anybody that's like a creative or an artist or a musician or anything like that makes something and it's just like, this is perfect. This is incredible. Everybody's going to love this. There's like a level of like not caring that comes with that. But then
think you're
anybody
done.
that's like,
I think you're done when you do that. When
Yeah.
you say, oh, this is great, this is it, I think you're done. And I think, not to get into the band stuff or anything, but I think that's where I was at as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that. So, but I think if you're like, oh yeah, this is great, I think you're just done making stuff. You're done creating or in that field. I don't know. Maybe it's different for other people, but
It's also nice to have different like avenues. Like you can
Absolutely.
easily get burnt out of things if you do it
Yep.
too often or too hard. So having moved on to like this new career, like it's pretty cool and pretty refreshing, I would assume.
it was a challenge because it was like probably a year or 2 after the band that I really found anybody that would take me on as an apprentice, because that's another insane thing. I know so many artists that should be tattooing that just, they're not. And then I see so many tattoo artists who shouldn't be tattooing. But no,
You're not wrong.
no, I'm super critical of people. But no, man, where were we? Lost train of fact.
Just like, I mean, I think all in all, like that point of never being satisfied. Like there's a happier balance of like finding a way to be like, I'm happy with what I do. I like what I make, but I always want to improve.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get there. I have never gotten there with anything I've ever made. I always do it. It's finished to an extent. Like if it's like an album or whatever, then I'm like, okay, this is done. It's bad. And I want to make the next one. And like, and I learned so much from that experience. And like even like going and playing shows, it's like every show, if there's videos of it, whether it's like professionally done or just like somebody from a phone, I'll watch it 30 times.
Yeah, same.
And just be like, all right, well, who did what? And be like, this could be better. This was actually sick. Like I liked this, and try to pick it apart. It's probably the exact same thing, but like you obsess over the tattoos that you do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with band stuff, I would just obsess over stage presence like crazy. Even though like people would be like, "Oh man, dude, you're crazy," I'd still like watch other bands and try to see what they're doing. Like I'd always watch Enter Shikari videos.
Enter Shikari is sick.
The Chariot, like that stuff. Like they just looked like they had fun, and that's like the main goal with that. And it's kind of the same thing with tattooing. Is I look at other artists, I see what they're doing, and always use references for anything I'm doing. So yeah. I'm obsessive. I'm thinking about tattooing right now.
Right, yeah. That's a good thing though.
I mean, literally, when you got here, like the some of the tattoos are, I don't know if it's all of them or some of them.
All but
a couple
one.
of them.
I think all but one.
Yeah, I did that one.
I did that one.
Whenever you got here, you immediately were like asking about the tattoos and like looking at them, and so it shows. Like you got here and you were like, let me check my work immediately.
Yeah,
but that's awesome. Like again, I have so much more respect for anybody that like stresses about there. It sucks. Like I wish people didn't, but it's like it shows that you care. It shows that you actually give a shit about what you're doing.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I work hard to care. I really do.
Caring is exhausting.
It is exhausting, and it's like being creative every day and stuff like that is just it's hard. Yeah, it's a hard job.
Definitely can be a lot. I do want to just kind of just briefly touch on some cool things you got to do when you were in Honour Crest. Being for a while, y'all were the band, the metalcore band in the area. We all looked up to Honour Crest. We wanted to be where Honour Crest was, and you got to do some cool things. So, you mentioned South by So What? Yeah, tell us about that. I saw a lot of pictures and stuff. I saw you throw your bass in the air.
Yeah, I did that. That was a cool picture. Yeah, South by So What was fun. That was I think we did both tours, both like huge like national tours that we did. We did South by So What, like the fall edition and the spring edition. So they kind of got us like both sides. But yeah, so I can remember South by So What, but it's always hard to like pinpoint all the tours because so much happens at one time. And I remember like real quick, like when I get home, my wife, my girlfriend then, would ask me, how was it? What'd you do? And I was like, it was good.
It was good.
And to summarize 2 months, it was good. It was fine.
Yeah, no kidding.
You made it back.
We made it alive. Yeah. That's a huge thing, especially if I'm driving.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, South by So What. I think one of them, to pinpoint one, we were playing on a smaller stage for that picture where I threw the bass up in the air. And I think 2 or 3 days before that, I threw my bass forward, and I was like, "Oh no!" And
the moment in midair, just like,
for people who always ask me, do you drop your bass? Yeah, occasionally I throw it too far, and I'm an idiot, and it just
you also get a black eye.
I did get a black eye in Arizona before the second South by So What, and we were touring with We Butter the Bread with Butter. It's always a hard name to say. And I think one of them had seen it happen. And then I had a friend from high school that was at that show. And this show is actually memorable because I had a black eye. And the German dudes were like, "Hey, come here, buddy. Let's get you on the bus. You're not okay. No, don't drink that. Don't drink that. Let's come on the bus." And so they had me on their bus, like laying on a couch for a while, just keeping me away from people.
Like, they're like, this guy is concussed.
They were pretty sure, but I think I was all right. I went to sleep that night and woke up, so I'm good. We're good.
You are still here.
I am still
and they're actually
here.
a pretty topical band right now. They released a song not too long ago that like everybody's freaking out about.
Did they really?
Yeah, it has a really weird.
Yeah, that's how
breakdown
far
in
out
it.
of the music industry I am. Like I had no idea, no idea.
Fair
Like,
enough.
And I'm friends with those guys.
Yeah, they're a weird band. It's cool.
They're
I
definitely
love
cool.
anybody that's weird and different, and like even if it's not my cup of tea, I'm always like I always try to say that I'm happy that it exists. And they're one of those bands that I listen to. I'm just like, this is such a trip. They're so sick.
It happens.
Yeah, I like those guys. They're fun. And man, who do we tour? Who else was on that tour? Lions was on that tour. They're ridiculous. If you guys want to see some crazy live bands like those,
Lions.
yeah,
I recognize.
they're like a post-hardcore like pop punk band.
I think they played New Relevant at one point.
Probably.
I think they did. I think Revenant might have opened for them.
Oh wow!
Like one of my first shows with them,
potentially.
I can't remember.
Whenever I think of crazy bands, the first band that comes to mind, it would be Let Live, but now Fever 333.
Yeah,
which I'm
Jason Butler.
extremely
Oh my God.
excited to see at Blue Ridge.
Yeah,
I cannot.
he's absolutely
wait
going to
to
climb
watch
a
that.
rafter.
Yeah,
like because we saw him at Lunatic Luau.
Oh really?
And I thought it was pretty calm. It was weird.
I mean, he can't be like that at every show.
Yeah, exactly. He might have had
There's
like
no way.
like it was a rest day for him.
Yeah, it's like I got hurt. I got hurt yesterday.
Yeah,
Like-
I jumped off so I fell off a 20-foot balcony into the crowd, and my neck's a little sore. So
I'm gonna take it easy today.
I think not to compare myself to that dude because he's insane, but I think 2 days after my black eye, there's actually a video of me going like completely insane at South by So What.
You were talked about a lot.
I guess so.
I definitely remember.
you
everybody just
definitely
being
made you made your money's worth. that
like,
show.
like you're the show, and it was so impressive watching you flip around the bass and
I feel it like 6-7 years later. I feel it, for sure. But no, it was fun, and I played every show like it was my last show because it always can be. Not to do the you only live once because you live every day. By the way, you don't only live once.
You're right.
But
every day is a new day.
every day is a new day. But no, for playing shows, I geared up like I was about to play a football game because
Nice.
I stretched, I got ready. Some days I'd run, some days breathing exercises. But
That's the way to look at it, though.
but every show was like my last one for sure. Every time, So
you can definitely tell whenever the people on stage aren't feeling that way. Like whenever you end up playing, unfortunately, in front of like 10 people or whatever, that happens to every band.
yeah,
If you go out there and you give it your all, there's a good chance that one of those 10 people is gonna really fuck with you and be like, I remember that band. I'm a fan of that band now. But if you go and you give them a half-assed show, then they're gonna remember you give them a half-assed show.
yeah. I mean, so my old band, H is for Hero. We
Shout out Travis.
Yeah, Travis Loffett, still doing production stuff, man. He's killing it.
It is.
But yeah, we played with a band called Our Last Night, and we played in Virginia Beach, and I think we played in front of their merch guy, and
It'll happen.
we'd never heard of that band before, and they blew up. They did pretty good. A lot of covers, but that's fine.
Yeah, even before the covers, they were doing cool
They
stuff.
were doing cool stuff. They had some pretty cool tours, and I was like, man, that's awesome. That they're touring and stuff. I think Trevor Wentworth was 16 at the time when we played with them, so that was nuts. And another example of playing in front of like nobody. Honour Crest was on tour with I can't remember who we were with. It's some Rise band. We just like signed to Rise, and we played in I want to say like Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
and the band that opened for us was some band called Paris, and
fuck.
Whoa.
They were.
They are now an arena band. So
They were insane, and I can't remember if this is true or if I'm making it up, but I think we sent their stuff to Rise. One of us did, and was just like, you need to check them out. I think we sent something to Sean Haydorn from Rise, and next thing we know, they're signed to Rise.
Wow.
And they were. I mean, they needed to be on stage or bigger stage. You know, they were killing it. I think it might have been like their first show. No lie.
Wow.
That's crazy. Like, but yeah, that just shows that like, you just have to leave it all on stage and let whatever you leave on stage work for you, no matter how many people are there.
Yeah, you never know who's there, whether they could be a fan or somebody who
or
has
just
a connection.
some band that Rise is throwing at the wall to see if it sticks.
Yeah, and then there you go. It's like there's a connection. You get signed because of it, because you played that show in front of nobody, but you gave it your all, and one of the people was somebody that mattered. Yeah, I think that's a really good takeaway. And as far as like actually getting signed, going from being the local band and everything, was there anything that you feel like you did, or any strategic move that you guys made that led you to that point that other bands maybe could learn from?
We played every show and took every opportunity. We played Battle of the Bands that we knew we wouldn't win. We played everything. And we just, I wouldn't say we wrote like necessarily crazy stuff, but we definitely took outside sources when we would write. But playing the shows, that's what really counted. You know, we really perfected our craft by playing shows. And there's no radius clause when you're a local band, so play everything you can, Practice is great, but really it's just getting your live show out there and perfecting that. Because it's not about money. Sometimes it has to be about money. But the live shows are where you're going to make a name for yourself. It's where you're going to make money. There is replay value, and I think that's one thing that we actually talked about was because we had a couple of EPs beforehand that just were not replayable at all. And we got an EP eventually that was, good. I think
still one of my favorites.
With Andrew Bayless, I think it's technically a full length because it's 8 tracks. I can't remember. That was another discussion that we had. But yeah, we recorded with Andrew Bayless, had some replay value, and that's fine. But it's the live shows that really like stood out.
Yeah, so that's always something that as a young musician would watch and. Contest. It was always entertaining. You guys had a good crew.
Appreciate that.
You had Brandon on your side.
Oh, yeah, Brandon's
taking
great,
care of lights.
Man.
Like that made a big deal.
I've known Brandon I feel like my whole
I'm really
life.
sorry to interrupt everyone. Real quick, what's a radius clause? Very dumb question.
A radius clause is a certain amount of miles that you have to be outside of to play your next show.
So if you were to go and play like a festival in Virginia Beach, then it's like for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 5 months, whatever, depending on how big the show is and whatever the clause is, you cannot play a show within these miles, this radius of that festival or show, because it builds hype for the show, makes it so you don't spread yourself out and lose people.
Exactly. You don't want to exhaust yourself on tours. You don't want to exhaust your fan base.
Exhaust your fan base because
so
if you're playing the same place, within a month's time,
Yeah.
The fan can choose which one they want to do.
I mean, you can almost notice merch sales dwindle sometimes. It just depends on the
because they already bought that stuff. You haven't printed. So.
They already bought it, and that's how you're making money as a touring band. You know, that's it right there. That's some bands. That's if you eat or not. You know, I think our per diem was like $5 a day. So
yeah, I mean that's typical.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Just going back to the live show, like having watching Brandon do his thing.
Yeah,
being your side stage and your light guy. Like it made me have an interest in lights, and that's why I do programming for my band live. Just because it makes a difference.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
You just had the nicest things to say about your light show.
Thanks. Yeah, he's stoked on it. He makes me set it up for practice because it like puts him in a vibe. Ooh. I'm like, all right.
It definitely changes it though. Like good sound and good visuals, like that matters so much. And whenever the lights are popping off, like that's in my opinion one of the biggest differences between whenever you go to a show and you see the local openers, the supporting bands on the tour and then the headliner, there's always like no lights or minimal lights, maybe a little bit of lights, and then a lighting package.
Like a show.
And it's
like an actual
so
show.
much cooler whenever there's real lights going along.
So it almost always depends on the headliner you're with. Sometimes your tour manager will be like, "Nah, guys, that's not going down."
Yeah. No, literally.
But we always like did a pretty good job with their tour managers because we'd be like, "If we use it, you guys can use it."
Wow.
You know, and we got along pretty well with the headliners. I think we toured with the Browning and This Is the Apocalypse.
That
and
was the tour.
That was a fun one. That was our first experience, and I remember somebody from the Browning came over and was like, "What tours have you guys done?" You know, and they're just making conversation, and we're like, "Oh, yeah, we did a couple weeks and this, that, and the other," and he's like, "You see the back of this pass, right? It's really small. That means it's 2 months, so you guys are in for a kick in the teeth." And I didn't really realize how crazy it was going to be till probably a month in, and I was like, "Ooh,
It's like you're halfway through right now.
not a human being anymore." I think at that point it's just testosterone and so much sweat in the van, and you just pick fights over nothing because you can.
Yeah, I mean when you're
assert dominance
when you're in a metal can for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's entertainment.
Yeah, nobody's showering properly because you can't. So it's real stinky.
It's real stinky.
And I think it was the Rebutter the Bread with Butter tour. So hard to say. That really made me start to think about a new career. You know, it was just kind of like wearing on me a lot. So, which I just wanted to be home. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
you got to do some really cool tours. You got to, I think, you toured Canada, right?
I didn't get to go on that Canada tour.
Okay.
So I had gotten arrested for clerical reasons.
Understood.
No further questions.
It was really the dumbest way to get arrested. I was double booked for a courtroom for a trespassing charge, which I
Damn.
got with H's for Hero. So this is Travis's fault if he's listening. And so I got like double booked for a courtroom, and I didn't show up to one of them because I'm only one person.
Right.
And so I got a capias warrant in the mail, and for some reason, I can't remember why, but they were like, "You can't leave the country, you know, because until your court date."
Yeah, that sounds like some stupid U.S. legal
God.
system stuff.
And so I was like, "All right, guys,
Of all times for that to happen.
yeah, I'm not gonna make it to Canada. I'm not gonna be able to do the Canadian one." And I was so distraught that I didn't even play like their American shows. It was a lot, you know, and
Yeah, understood.
I wouldn't say we had the feeling, but it felt like it might be one of those last like tour things. Just I don't know why. It was like something in the air, you know. And then I think after that tour, probably 2 or 3 weeks later, Rise was like, "We're not going to exercise our second option." So we had a conversation, and you know, I think we just moved on.
Yeah.
We decided to move on. I wanted to get married. I think, Lucas wanted a career, you know, we all wanted to do something else. And I think I actually said, you know, I wanted to move back to Australia, you know, I wanted to get out of this country. But,
Oh yeah, okay. I'm glad you brought
So-
that up. I have more stuff about tattooing that I really want to ask you about, but I also want to ask about Australia.
Yeah.
Just because as somebody who's never been outside of the country,
Mhm.
Australia is one of the last places that I would want to go, simply because of everybody saying that the bugs are monsters,
Okay.
and I'm curious about the truth to that. For one,
So have you been to Florida?
when I was like 3,
Okay. It's
I don't really
same
remember.
kind of concept.
Florida is Australia.
Except for the
Australia
humidity.
light.
The humidity is bad in Florida. In Australia, it's dry. So
that sounds nice.
So it's actually crazy because moved to Australia at a young age and moved back at kind of a young age still. But I actually remember getting off the plane in Japan as a layover and walking into a wall of wet.
Mhm.
And as a kid, I didn't really have a word for humidity. And I was like, this is strange. because Australia is so dry. So Australia's dry, Florida.
Okay.
With, we got bugs and stuff, but it's not that crazy.
Where at in Australia
So I lived in Adelaide, South Australia.
Okay.
And I went to primary school years, and I did speech therapy there. So occasionally you'll hear an accent, and it's mostly like the long I sounds. So like 9. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, things like that. And it pops out mostly when I'm really tired. So not too tired right now.
Nice.
But but yeah, Australia's great. I learned to surf there. I almost learned how to play guitar there, but the guy who was teaching me how to play guitar, he was just like, I think he told my parents, like, you'll never learn how to play guitar.
Damn.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's a good teacher.
Oh, he was great. It was perfect.
So he's too difficult.
But yeah, and that's funny because I ended up playing in a touring band.
Yeah.
So
It's like, yeah, so fuck you, that
win.
guy.
But no, Australia was great. Great childhood. My first sport that I played was Australian rules football. So
Okay.
it's like Quidditch.
What's the okay?
Basically
What?
Quidditch. Yeah. So it's on an oval. There are 4 goalposts on either side of the oval. And the objective is to kick the ball, which is shaped like a rugby ball, in between the middle posts. And that's 6 points. Anything goes outside of that, that's 1 point. And so you're running without pads, basically
It's a rugby style.
kind of rugby style. I just actually learned what rugby was because somebody asked me to be on the rugby team. I didn't really know what that was, but they were like, "Oh, you were in
It's really
Australia.
intense.
You should know."
You should
I
know.
was like, I played Aussie rules. I didn't play rugby. But yeah, so that was the first sport that I played. And there's so many rules to go over. I just don't think anybody's going to understand it.
That's fine.
But
I'm going to do a Google search. 'Cause I've never even heard.
everybody
of
should
this.
check it out because it is insane. There's no pads. The guys wear the shortest shorts ever. Like
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, and I was like,
I'm listening.
I felt so uncomfortable as like a 8-year-old, 8 or 9-year-old, wearing short shorts out in like, a country I haven't really been to.
Yeah.
I think this was like my first week of school there, and so first game went well. I did the wrong thing. They had me like by the goal where we would score at. So I was like a forward, I think. And so the way that you pass the ball is you actually bump it with your hands like that, like kind of like volleyball.
Okay.
That's the only way to pass it. And you can pass it any direction, but you have to do that.
Are you allowed to run with the ball?
You're allowed to run with the ball. You can run with it. I think it's every 15 or 16 steps. You can actually, you bounce it on the ground. So like a dribble. I can actually dribble a American football.
I'll
as
say
well.
that's talent.
Yeah, that's
there.
really impressive.
Well, I mean, every once in a while. So you're only doing it like every, 15, 16 steps or
Yeah.
whatever you count. You don't really count because there's too much going on. But so my first game, I got the ball and I bumped it into the goal, which I thought was good. So I was stoked. But they're like, oh, that's only 1 point because you're
You
supposed to
usually
kick it. So that was my first game. That went well. Second game, however, a kid on the opposite team, he dislocated his shoulder. And so this is another thing. Australians are a different breed. His dad popped his shoulder back in, slapped him on the ass, and put him back out.
And this is your peer? Is this like another 8-year-old?
Yes. This is a peer.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, I'm not built like an Australian. But
that kid has not seen the doctor since he turned 18.
so the thing is,
I'm fine.
Like, is like even in injuries, like on the pro games and stuff, they just have their physicians. They don't really call them doctors over there. Like their physicians come out there and like pull the players off while the game's going on around them. So it's crazy. Like I watch American football and I'm like, ooh, this isn't anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a few rugby matches.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of has the same intensity, but it's like, yeah, y'all are literally wearing like a small pad maybe across your neck.
I don't think I ever went to one, but my friend Carter played.
Oh,
rugby.
he played a lot of
yeah,
rugby.
he played rugby for a while. And
I want to play for sure. I mean, I
look.
do so much stuff already, but I want to do that too.
the thing I want, and it's weird that there's a connection to Honour Crest with me wanting to do this for some reason. But when I was way younger,
Yeah.
I think the way I like got introduced to everybody in Honour Crest, I was friends with like a bunch of the same people, and we played Ultimate Frisbee a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think I was probably there.
Yeah. So I remember we used to go to like Princess Anne Park or like Lansdowne Middle School or whatever.
That was
and
fun,
we
man.
would play Ultimate Frisbee all the time.
So much fun.
I was probably like 14,
13,
14,
yeah.
something like
Really?
that. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Wow.
And I learned, I was like, yo, Ultimate Frisbee is fucking fun.
It is fun. Yeah.
It's so much fun. I
So
wasn't
much
very
fun.
good. And I was always against Zach, and Zach was always ridiculously
He's
good at it.
aggressive.
Yeah, so he
He's
would always just
aggressive.
trample
He's
over me.
always
I'd be
been
like, all right,
aggressive.
well,
He's aggressive.
yeah, I was a kid, and everybody else wasn't. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I just so now I want to play frisbee golf also, kind of like.
I
or
think
disc golf or whatever
Lucas
it's called.
does that.
Does he really?
Does he?
He's invited me a couple times.
It seems so like it just like relaxing,
Chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
but more fun than golf. Golf
Yeah.
does not interest me at all.
Because if you suck at
kinda
golf,
play
it's
it.
not fun.
and I'm
And
not
it's
good
really
at golf.
easy to suck at golf.
Oh yeah,
And if I remember correctly, you do like bowling. Right?
Yeah, I bowl.
You bowl.
So
It's crazy. I can't do that.
yeah. I'm also really bad at bowling.
Physically can't do it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of people say that, and it's like, you just know that's like 60 feet away. Like, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah,
I'll
I
never
can-
understand it.
I remember the days where like I would was it Facebook? It might have been MySpace at the time still, but like when there was like posts about people going to play Ultimate,
Mhm.
That was.
It was
like,
like
that was the thing
we
to
did.
do.
like Chris Zimmerman or Jaquan or my brother would always take me out, and we would just go, and it would just be like, yeah, it's gonna be us, these other random people, and then this band called Honour Crest, and I was like, sick. All right, like let's go do
Yeah,
this then.
that's about right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
we,
random.
We
but
used to do it all the time, like in like the parking lot at night, and
Oh, that must have been a really cool
Crazy.
like tour like pastime.
not so much.
Really?
Really for tour. It was pretty much like we drive to the venue, probably find a Barnes and Noble, and get Wi-Fi for a bit.
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble was okay.
I
I mean,
mean,
it makes
that's-
sense. It's really quiet.
That's really like the days where like, okay, is there a cool thing here? Okay, let's check out the cool thing, and that's what we would do. We weren't really a party band.
hmm
We were more of a we like to sleep band.
I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, because you
Feel
got to get as
that.
much as you can.
So we would drive to the next place and just find something to do.
Were you
know?
guys night drivers? Or did you wait till the next morning?
It really depended on how far the place was.
Right.
I remember, and I don't think I've ever really brought it up again, but so the German band, because I'm not going to say their name anymore. I hate it.
We butter.
We butter.
There we go.
But
They actually had Vinnie Paul's tour bus.
Wow.
Wow.
So they like his personal coach. And their tour manager somehow, I can't remember if he was like working with Vinnie Paul's like band at that time or not, but they invited us to go to his birthday because we were in Texas and we had a festival. And I can't remember if we were on the fence about going. And I was like, we gotta go. We have to go. Like they're not gonna not go.
Right.
yeah,
Of
that
course.
You know.
opportunity. Like
But I think what happened, and I think I placed the blame wrongly on my bandmates, but I think we ended up having our show get rained out at South by So What, so we ended up playing the next day, so we didn't have time. But I'm pretty sure we had time to swing by that birthday party. Because all I remember
Just
is
go pop
waking
in.
up and we're driving pretty fast for a couple of hours. And I just realized, like, we're going to Florida. We're not going to the party. And it was like a feeling of disappointment.
Yeah.
For sure. But, like the festivals, like that's a lot of night driving. And I remember like,
Because you guys have to get there early.
you got to get there early. You got to get your passes early. I mean, this is so long ago, so I'm just kind of like trying to get in that state of mind again. But yeah, you got to get there early and you got to, try to load in before the big bands do, because then there's like a line, but it's fun. You'll find out soon.
Hopefully, that's the
Yep.
idea.
Yeah.
We try to be the night drivers because we understand that everything that could possibly happen was going to happen because
Yeah.
that always does. So we're like, that's one less thing to worry about is showing up late if we drive overnight. Yes, whoever drove in Copilot, it sucks for them the next day, but we do a good job of rotating.
So, I mean, I also didn't really drive a lot because I think we were going to try out for Sumerian, and it was my turn to drive, and I'm going to throw Brandon Burrell under the bus here. Because he was my navigator.
Oh.
And I think at that time I was so afraid of driving. Like now that was like a thing because I couldn't really drive on like the mountain roads.
Yeah.
I still have an issue with it, and my wife will be able to attest to this. I like hyperventilate like on these mountain pass roads sometimes still in the Shenandoah Valley, let alone like the West Coast.
The West Coast mountains are a whole different ballgame.
Ooh. So we were trying out for Sumerian in California.
That was a drive to California, yeah.
And I think he fell asleep or something, and I just kept driving. And
you're going west.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured. I don't know what happened or how it happened, but I was like probably 20 miles outside of Mexico, heading towards that direction. And so they were like, Jimmy shouldn't drive anymore. And I was like,
that got you out of it.
I wasn't really worried about getting out of it. I know they're probably gonna be like, yeah, he's full of shit. But I wasn't really good at driving then. Now I'm fine. I think I take a lot of CBD and that helps. But I will always be, a supporter of CBD, by the way.
Of course.
Yeah. But when it comes to like driving, like I think we were driving an SUV right then to save on gas with did we have a trailer? I can't remember.
I would assume so.
I think we had a trailer.
Yeah.
That was so long ago. And then we ended up getting to LA safely because, Brandon woke up and was like, whoa, what are you doing? And so, yeah. So if you ask anybody, they'll tell you, yeah, Jimmy almost got us into Mexico for no reason,
That would have been quite an interrogation at the border, probably.
I would have been like, I made a mistake, guys. We shouldn't be here right now.
We need to reschedule. It's going to be a while. We're stuck here. We're going to be stuck in Mexico
the
now.
Canadian border just to get in. I think they opened up drum cases and stuff just to look for stuff. So, because I did play a couple of shows in Canada, on one of those tours. And, man, Canada.
They don't want us grimy Americans bringing in bad stuff to Canada. Eh?
I think they look at like merch sales too and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But
I guess the amount of cash
or
you're bringing in,
you're
stuff
supposed
like
to hide your merch. I think that's what the thing was like hide your merch, which this is broadcast out to places and stuff. But you guys should hide your merch.
You're so far removed from it, doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter.
Everybody
anymore.
else know.
It doesn't matter. I can say anything.
Yeah.
I hate Rise Records. There we go.
There we go. Let's put it out there. That will not be the Instagram clip, Casey.
Controversial stuff.
It can be if I want it to.
I think talking to Ricky, Gillis about stuff and whatnot. I think what you guys are doing is the best route. Honestly, because record label will help you record something that you can record in your room. So, there's that.
We are the songs that we're dropping on September 10th. If this hasn't been released by then, is all self-produced because pandemic happened. We weren't making any money, so do the stuff yourself. And if it's good enough, it's good enough.
DIY.
DIY.
Yeah, DIY.
There it is.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, record labels are like their position is really weird right now.
It's very weird.
They're going through. They should be changing. They've been fucked up for a long time. But their main thing was distribution back when distribution was hard to acquire, and now
anyone can do it.
Can put their music on Spotify and Apple Music and whatever.
And so with us,
we just did it at the same time. That was weird, Casey.
We covered it.
I did this.
We've drank at the same time like 4 times too.
So with us, and I'm good friends with Cameron Mizell, so I'm never going to say anything bad about him. But we had an issue with our one of our releases, our full length, which was supposed to be in stores, which is like the best thing ever for a musician because you want to go to FYE and buy your own CD and it's like, this is me, Our physical copies were messed up. We had a band that we actually strangely enough, toured with, called Micah Relocate, on our CD. And it was like crickets from Rise Records. And it's like, this is your job. This is like your only job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, your job is to have our music get put on CDs, put in stores.
Mhm.
And you fucked that up.
Yep.
And that, I mean, I couldn't imagine like what the long-standing effects of that is.
I remember when Cameron messaged us and was like, hey guys, there's a problem. And
Is this how you heard about it also, him messaging you?
Yeah, him messaging us. And I just remember like being so disappointed and like, this isn't like what I thought this would feel like. And it was like, because when we went to record it, the owners of Rise actually came down. It was Craig and Sean, who was like our rep. They came down to Arizona where we were recording at, and we had like a dinner and stuff. And we had a really good connection. We went hiking with those guys, like with a lot of rattlesnakes. And
Face death together.
We had dinner. We talked about the tours that we wanted to be on and stuff. And excuse me. And it just, I don't know what happened after that, but it was like we didn't exist anymore. So, yeah, I don't like Rise.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to get super into it. That is something that I have been, because I heard about that when it happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I've known you guys for a while, but I was never like on like I'm just gonna text somebody level or anything. So I was always curious about it, and just like, because there's a lot of stories, just like, or not stories, but like different opinions or like,
of course,
information floating around, and I was always curious about what actually happened.
Of course, I was always pretty straightforward about it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, and then they started putting us on, like, not bad tours, but they didn't put us on the tours we had talked about.
Talked about, yeah.
Yeah, especially after screwing up like that. Like,
yeah.
you would
Like
think
they
would
kind of
do
owed you.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. And, I mean, Lucas and I talk about it all the time. I don't plan on having a career in music, after this. I plan on doing like maybe a project or two every once in a while.
Yeah,
but
just something to do.
just because I'm a musician still. But, I've just got too much going on.
Yeah, understood.
Well,
just to change gears a little bit, you talked about how when you were in Australia, was your first time when you learned how to surf.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing you post a lot, especially you
Yeah.
did it last year during the pandemic. You spent a lot of time on the water.
Yes, I did.
Tell us about surfing. I know nothing
so-
about it, so
I wish I knew how to surf, but it's a whole thing. It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
So I've was a very competitive surfer in high school. I quit playing football to do surfing, and did pretty well. Surfed a couple competitions. Never really placed first, but I was good enough to get a couple sponsors here and there.
heck yeah.
And then I stopped doing it because of injuries, and it just kept stacking up. And not to get too far into that, but I stopped doing it and I started playing music more. And I think in 2008, I started playing more music and stopped thinking about surfing at all, because that's another industry that's just, it chews you up and spits you out sometimes.
Real quick, out of like curiosity, what kind of injuries do you get surfing? Like, I just don't see it as a.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I guess it'd be really dangerous because the ocean is a
It
giant
is-
death ball. But like,
I think surfing is probably the most dangerous sport. I'm going to say
Wow.
that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely the most dangerous sport. Even in Virginia Beach, we just had a body wash up like last year.
oh
Whoa.
shit!
Yeah, at Croatan.
Oh,
And
no.
I think they found out that it was like cardiac arrest.
Okay.
So, not to get too sensational here.
Too
but
I'm already clutching my pearls. Like,
yeah. So if you actually look at like big wave surfing, that's definitely the most dangerous
Because
sport.
those are literally stories high waves.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. Those videos are fucking crazy.
So like the biggest wave for reference for me is like that I've surfed is probably 16 to 20 foot. There's no way to really tell because whatever.
That's still absurd.
And then for like big wave surfing, they're chasing after a 100-foot wave, and I can't even imagine that. I can't even think about that. Big wave surfers are like another like tier of insanity. And then for injuries for me, I've broken my wrist, I had a hairline fracture in my back and a hairline fracture in my sternum. So,
Jeez.
those are a couple, you know.
Yo, how the
Right
fuck
there.
does water hit you so hard that it just literally breaks your chest?
Mostly,
I'm so shook.
mostly the sandbar. So the
Really?
sandbar comes at you fast, and then a surfboard is really hard.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
it's fiberglass and resin, and there's like some shapers out there that will like, you know, correct me, but that's really hard and it will hurt you. And like a board is spinning around with you in a wave sometimes, and it doesn't work out very great. My latest injury, recently, 2 or 3 years ago, I got hit in the face by a dolphin's fin.
You okay?
That should-
Whoa.
okay.
So,
That shouldn't be funny, but it really is.
oh no,
I'm
it's
so
it's
sorry.
hilarious.
Like-
It is amazing.
Oh my God.
So I had to tell my mentor at the time, I'm sitting at the lifeguard booth because I'm in a concussion protocol because a dolphin hit me. And
That might be the Instagram clip. Which, if it is, hey everybody.
so
Did the dolphin say I'm sorry at least? Like
I
excuse
heard
me?
a squeak in my ear, and then I saw stars. So
Dolphin said, "Damn,
I think that's
shit, my bad, dog."
that's my favorite injury. It reminded me of when I got hit in the face with a base, you know, and had a black eye. It was a very
Brought back
familiar
trauma.
feel. I'm always hitting my face, so if you want to fight me, just don't hit me in the face.
You're just gonna be like,
It's
"What?"
art. It's nothing. That's not the way to beat me. But yeah, so I've been getting back into competing. Nothing crazy, no pro competitions really
I was gonna ask about
coming up.
ECSC and all that stuff.
But I'm going to do ECSC as a master. So try to
Okay.
get back into it. I can't compete with those guys though. I just the Floridians take it all the time. Anyways,
So what does that mean as a master?
so as a master, it means that I am over the age of 25, I think, and that's why I'm competing as a master.
Okay.
So it's only the age group, and then to be a professional surfer, you just have to check a box. So
I understand.
that's all you have
That's
to do.
all you gotta do.
You check a box, and then you compete against people who are insane, and you can win money. Yeah, there's a good amount of money. I don't know what it is this year, but you can win first place and, you know, pay a couple of house payments. So
Without getting too into it, we'll be there to an extent. So,
okay, cool.
we'll definitely try to run into you. We'll
I
see
would
out
think
there.
I would think that this will be out after that. So
Oh yeah, ECSC's really. When is ECSC?
like 3 weeks.
ECSC is
4 weeks?
in a couple of weeks. I'm doing yeah.
Oh yeah, we already. Yeah, everything else is already. Then yeah, I guess I can talk about it. Yeah, we have like
You guys
media passes.
You
and
guys
stuff.
have been there, and I've seen you, and we said hi, and that's what happened.
So the craziest shit happened, but we can't talk about it.
Last year I surfed it during a pandemic, and that was strange.
I bet.
That was very odd. It was like, you know, walking into this weird area where nobody's around, and then surfing out in the water where
No one else is.
no one else is.
I'm like I've only been like to the oceanfront during UCSC maybe twice in my life, but it's
Mhm.
just like there were happenings.
Yeah,
There's
it's
just
crazy.
stuff going on. So I couldn't
And
imagine
then-
being there last year where there's nothing going on.
Yeah, and it's crazy this year because I play on a sand flag football team, and that happens during ECSC. And so I'm going to be playing a football tournament while surfing a competition. So that's going to be fun.
It's gonna be a busy
You'll
week
be
for
busy,
you.
man.
I know. I that's how I live. You know, I pretty much wake up, surf, then go tattoo. And well, I'm drawing in between all of that because I draw nonstop.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
feel that, bro. I'm always doing
it's what-
something.
It's what you have to do though. In that industry with tattooing is you got to think about tattooing and just go nonstop.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
that's so. As far as I got my first one recently. That's what's on my arm.
Nice.
And I'm all the things that were going through my head as I tried to figure out how to be a good client, I guess, or whatever was and I want your like full honest opinion what you would prefer from somebody. So as far as like somebody coming with like a design, there's I guess 3 different kinds. There's I want this exact thing that I have drawn already on my body. I want this is the concept, you know, make your own thing. Or I have no idea. Worst to best, like what do you prefer?
Yeah, how do you handle each one?
Yeah, how do you exactly?
Okay, so if somebody comes in and says, "I want this exactly how it is," it really depends on what it is.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll get like people who want some artwork that somebody's done, tattooed on their body. What I do is I say, "Do you know the artist?" And if they say yes, I'm like, "Can you get permission from them and have me see it so I can go about it?" And so that's a best case scenario with something like that.
Okay.
Right.
Worst case scenario is like, "Oh, I want this." And if it's a traditional design, that's like a well-known design among tattooers, like, like Pharaoh's horses, like that's a big one. Or the Rose of No Man's Land, which is the nurse with a rose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's pretty much where the rose design comes from. We'll definitely do something like that. If it's like a Burt Grimm, who's like an old school artist, absolutely I'll do something like that.
Okay.
That's a best case scenario. Worst case scenario is the watercolor Pinterest stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
So, hey, I saw this on the internet. I don't know who made it, but I want this on me.
and that stuff pays the bills, I don't mind doing that. But I don't post that stuff, I'll do that for a customer. I'll try to change it up so it's not exactly more my style, but something that I'm okay with doing.
Yeah.
And then, a best case scenario client coming in is like, "I saw your flash and I really want that on my body." That's always the best feeling. It's like, okay, I did something good.
Yeah.
I draw flash like a ton. Like I used to, during my apprenticeship, I had some issues, just drawing and understanding stuff. And that's why it took me a while to really get it together. I had a lot going on, family issues here and there with my dad and whatnot, because I was taking care of my dad at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like hard just to like, work a kitchen job and being an apprentice. It was just like nonstop. And then I'd also have to, hang out with my dad and take him to doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But that got easier, as it went on. But I don't know. It was like a light bulb went off one day and I was like, okay, I'm going to draw a skull, and I'm going to draw it without looking at any references because I know what the pieces of a skull is. And, when I finally did it and it looked okay, I was like, okay, I'm starting to get it. And that's like the level thing. Like it just was the next level.
That was a level up right there.
That was a level up. And it was just every little small victory just kind of led to a path. And I want to say, the shop I was at the time, we had a falling out, of course. I know a lot of people have talked about it. But, those guys taught me so much. And I'm always super appreciative of, the time and energy that everybody at that shop put into me. So, because it was really like that is what helped me with my career.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a stepping stone.
Having that backbone.
Yeah.
And so I can't stress putting enough, emphasis on getting an apprenticeship and getting a good apprenticeship too. There's some shops that will just keep you as an apprentice just to do walk-in stuff. But luckily the two shops I've been at, and now third shop, because DJ and I are kind of taking over at the shop in Suffolk. It's always been like, you can do what you want, type deal thing. And there wasn't really too many constraints. And, that was nice. So.
Yeah, there's definitely like, on the side of somebody going and getting a tattoo, so much. They just from me, but I overthink everything. I was like just super anxious and like, everybody that I talked to, I had the idea of like, this is from Ocarina of Time. It's the owl from Ocarina of Time.
I kind of understand that. I'm not going to pretend too much because my wife's going to watch this and she's like, "You don't know Zelda."
Fair enough. But I knew I wanted this tattooed on me for years.
Yeah.
And I just kept pushing it off and being like, money, whatever. Like, I don't know. And I was always just like, I don't want to go to somebody and be like, I want this exact thing on me, because that's disrespectful to your art. But I also don't want to walk up and be like, I don't know, make something, because that's disrespectful too. So I was like, I don't know what to do. It stressed me out so
So
much.
the best thing to do in that situation, because I know that was the original question, is bring as many references of what you want in, and kind of let the tattoo artist, use their style, use their creativity to create, what they want. Like for me, it's always has to have solid lines, has to have solid shading, and solid color. That's my parameters whenever I tell somebody, especially with a big project. Like if it's a big thing, I'm probably not going to do it, if you want it exactly like that.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. But, giving me some basic parameters, yeah. I can draw something cool for you. Always.
Yeah.
Always down for that.
I can attest to that. Like,
Yeah,
I
try.
Of the three tattoos that you've done for me,
Mhm.
what was a flash?
Yeah,
Banged
that's right. Yeah,
It was
you did
easy.
get one of my flash pieces. That was awesome.
Another one was a reference of my shitty drawing. Like I done with Sharpie one day, and he made it into something really cool. And like I just kind of gained the trust from him. And one day I messaged him, I was like, "Yo, I want a lighthouse piece."
Yeah, didn't you? You just said I want a lighthouse, and he was like, "All right."
And then I
Let's
showed
do
up.
it.
I showed up one day. He's like, "Yo, I added a shark," and I'm like,
I think I made an Honour Crest joke because it was too easy.
"Oh yeah,
One of us did.
yeah." There was an Honour Crest joke in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, that's what I want. I know for sure because I can't draw worth shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not very like I'm artistic, but I'm not artistic in that form.
Gotcha.
So I'm very much like I have an idea. Like I'm a big fan of Avatar, and I know that the Last Airbender, not the blue people. And
No worries.
And I know that I want to get. There's like several Avatar concepts and ideas and tattoos and stuff that I want to get. But I don't know exactly what I want. So the comfort of knowing that I could be like, this is the idea. Here's a bunch of references of stuff that I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And then kind of collaborate and create something is like so freeing.
That's how I work, And sometimes if it's a big piece and there's a lot of like subject matter in it, I try to get their information. I used to use Facebook, but now I'm banned.
Yeah, do you know what happened with that also?
I have no idea.
That was
man.
super
It
random.
was very it made us very anxious because that was
Oh
earlier
yeah.
this week.
Oh yeah, I was talking to you about coming on
That
the podcast,
was like,
and then I was like, where'd he go?
Our conversation was like the last like messages that I had on there that were like important for sure. And
I was like, does anybody have his number? Because like I want to make sure we're
man.
still good.
I was like,
Yeah,
nah,
and
man,
it
I
took
talked to him
me-
through Instagram. Like,
it
I'm
took
kind of
me
fucked too.
all that day when I found out I didn't have a Facebook anymore to make an Instagram, because Facebook was figuring out who I was with every little thing I was doing. I was like, okay, let me change my name just a bit, or let me get a new email and do it that way.
Oh, they were like not letting you make
They
another
weren't-
account.
They knew who I was. It was
Whoa.
so strange. They were like, oh no, you're Jimmy. We know you're Jimmy.
You're not welcome here.
You're not.
Jimmy.
You're not okay. But I think and I don't want to get political at all, but
Feel free if you really want to.
no, and because you I will. But I had COVID 2 weeks ago, and I started posting about everybody getting the vaccine because it's really important that you do that, because I am a competitive athlete and I currently cannot like surf for longer than like 30 or 40 minutes, really hard without having to take a breath. Even like talking right now, I have to like breathe a lot, and I've lost a lot of my lung capacity. And then there's my wife, who is a world-class athlete, and she was working out in between fevers while we had COVID. So that's the caliber that she is. And she is struggling, massively hard. And we are, I wouldn't say we're in our prime, but we're more or less in our prime.
Yeah.
And it's the after effects. It's having COVID that was difficult, but it's the after effects that are really like just get vaccinated. Just do it.
The thing that upsets me is the fact that you had to preface that with not wanting to be political, because
I know.
to me it's not.
It's not.
To everybody
it's not political
it shouldn't
at
be.
all.
Like
at all.
I think we haven't gotten super into it, but everybody here is very adamant on that too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should speak on it more, but
Possibly.
it's not a political thing. It's a scientific thing. It's a community thing, and it's a world thing. Just get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Yeah.
Have conversations, not just
Absolutely.
with people that you agree with, but talk to everybody and just
Yeah.
like really just do it. It's so much better.
It's easy.
It's
Yeah.
so much
It's
better to
quick.
get
It is.
vaccinated than to just
It
than to
is.
not and get COVID.
And like for someone like me who's had COVID now, and if you have COVID, and my doctor told me I have to wait 3 months to get vaccinated, and I don't want to catch this shit again.
Yeah.
It's so bad. This is the second time. Second time was worse. The Delta variant is so bad. And but anyways, so I posted about vaccines a lot, and I'm thinking one of my more conservative friends, kind of reported me, and I think that's what happened because I had posted another meme that had like an anti-vax post, and then it was something silly underneath that I thought was hilarious, and Facebook flagged that because of the anti-vax stuff.
Mm.
And so then I'm talking about vaccines again and it gets flagged. Maybe I'm thinking Facebook is still working with the skeleton crew. And that's why things are getting really like flagged a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the algorithm picked it up again and somebody reported it or something happened. And it just deleted me from like 7,000 people immediately.
Yeah, that's
And
not
I
cool.
can't talk to anybody. And this is like my job and my livelihood. And that's like kind of like
Shit, I
the
didn't even
worst
think
part.
about that part of it. Whoa.
So like I'm disconnected from a lot of my clientele and stuff like that. Like music and art and everything aside, this is how I make money.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm canceled, but I'm kind of canceled right now.
Yeah, you definitely have to. It's going to be a long journey to get those clients back onto your socials
Yeah,
and stuff like
this
Hopefully
is
that.
there's an
clients and
appeals
stuff.
process. Have you?
I tried that. I'm not
Facebook is really
hopeful.
bad about that.
I'm so not hopeful about it because
Yeah.
I have people who are like, yeah, our conversation's gone.
Yeah, every message that you sent me is gone. My
Yeah.
messages still exist, but then
Yep.
it says like user unavailable or something under
Yeah.
your messages. So
So, but that's how I make my bread and butter right there is, people messaging me on Facebook and stuff. And, that's hard. That's hard to get back. And, I mean, walk-ins are cool, but, I have so many people who message me about getting tattoos because they see my art on Facebook. And that's like, for some reason during the band time, I got friends and followers on Facebook and Instagram. I just didn't get that many. But now all I have is Instagram, so now that's all I'm focusing on now. So
yeah,
Yeah.
We'll include your new social
Awesome.
in there.
appreciate it.
Everybody go follow him, check out all of his stuff. Get tattooed.
Yeah.
Tattoos are sick.
Tattoos are cool,
Uh,
pretty cool.
Get
Like,
vaccinated. All the good stuff.
Yeah, just get poked, guys. Everyone, just go get
Please.
Just get
Get poked by every needle.
get penetrated.
That's well, okay.
poked. That one, don't. Not every needle.
You get my point. Though.
Oh, wow.
Shut up, Tyler.
that was a lot to throw out there.
On that note, seems like a pretty good place to wrap it up. I love the saying the same thing. I didn't say whatever the fuck.
Let's
I
start-
usually-
let's start
Yeah,
from the
let's start from the beginning or whatever the fuck. So I didn't say that this time, but I'm gonna say that's a good place to wrap it up. Is there anything that you came here wanting to talk about that we missed? Do you have any questions for us or anything else besides the tattooing you want to plug?
I'm just going to want to shout out that my wife is the first strongest woman in the country for
Whoa.
midweight women competing in strongmen for, what is it? I'm going to mess it up. USS Federation. And she is ridiculous.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Whoa. Congratulations to her.
Yeah, dude,
Congrats.
she's
I know
insane.
She puts in a lot of work. and-
She is insane. And if you guys ever like cover athletes or anything, she definitely would love to do this.
Oh
So-
yeah, we're interested in pretty much anybody from the area that
Yeah,
has
dude.
something cool to talk
She
about.
is crushing it like way more hard than I ever have with music. I'll put it that way. So
Wow, hell yeah.
in her, yeah. So she can explain that stuff a lot better. But yeah, man, she squats me for fun on the beach every year. So if you guys ever want to check that out.
That's
Casey's face right now, like
Yeah, dude.
Really?
I mean, I really don't weigh that much compared to what she actually squats. So,
Right.
But no, that's a fun thing that we do every year. It's like a tradition, and I try to do it this year because she's been training me, and I could do it, but I had the leverage wrong, and I kind of dropped her.
oh no.
But-
Oh, man.
But yeah, so definitely check out my wife Jessica because
Does she have a
she
specific
has
social?
a social media called I think it's Jessica Says Arg.
Yeah,
Like
we'll
pirate.
link that too.
Like
Jessica says arg.
Yeah, so definitely check her stuff out.
And
Yeah.
what's the new shop called?
The new shop is called Arcane Tattoo. It's in the same spot as Tattoo Skills in Suffolk. It's pretty much DJ and I are just kind of like taking the lead on this one. We did all the design stuff for the signs, and
That's awesome.
and we're really like trying to draw flash and get things in there. And I think we're going to be doing like more wooden cutout things. I don't know how to paint those things, but I'm trying to learn from him because I'm so bad at I do a lot more digital stuff than, paper stuff. And I need to get back into it, but it's just so much easier to use Procreate. But anyways, yeah, so we'll have like new flash in that shop, and we'll have, we'll be doing what we always do every day, tattooing, drawing, and just nerding out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice,
Well,
dude.
definitely, like I said, check out all of his stuff. And thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you guys. This is fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to do the thing I keep doing because I really like doing it, where I just kind of talk and I talk, but then the song ends, so I'll stop now.